So in today's video I thought we'd discuss something very different, marketing theory. Don't worry, this is still technology related. More specifically, we're going to be talking about the What's a Computer advert, which was so controversial a few years ago. Personally, I actually think it's an extremely effective advert. Obviously I don't endorse Apple or the iPad Pro, but I do have to say that this advert is a well-designed one, and we're going to be discussing why that is, right now on the Linux Lounge. So for those of you who don't know or remember, in the What's a Computer advert, we see a young girl going through her daily life using the iPad Pro to perform various tasks. At the end of the advert, she's asked by her neighbour what she's doing on her computer, to which she responds,
"What's a computer?"
Now to me, all of this seemed like a pretty normal advert, but it seemed to rub a lot of people the wrong way for some reason. And to those people I have to say this. If you're angry at this advert and think that it's dumb, then this advert clearly wasn't for you. So with that said, you might ask, who is this advert for then? Well, personally, I'm willing to bet that it's for young teens, and as such, this advertisement is designed for young teens, not power users like us who are used to using desktop computers and laptops and that kind of thing. So with that in mind, let's talk about how this advert targets young teens very effectively. So I could talk about how this advert targets teenagers through the use of quite upbeat music, short shot lengths, high key lighting and other stuff like that, but I would be absolutely boring you to death if I did do that. So instead, I'm going to state the obvious and say that this advert targets young people by featuring them prominently. People like to feel represented, so if you represent them in an advert, they are more likely to feel like the product being advertised is for them, and by extension they are then more likely to buy the product. In this advertisement, we see the main character going through lots of things that a young teenager might, but notably they have the iPad Pro with them, and it's shown to enhance their life. In this way, the product is made to seem desirable to a young teenage audience. It might also be worth mentioning that the character we see using the iPad Pro seems to have quite an idealised and active lifestyle, which makes the iPad Pro seem desirable and part of a lifestyle like this. I think if we consider just who this advertisement is supposed to appeal to, we can see that for better or worse, this does all make the iPad Pro look very desirable. So now that we've established that the iPad Pro is being sold as part of an active and youthful lifestyle, let's talk about this advert's elephant in the room, the whole "What's a Computer" slogan. First, I do just have to say, this is a marketing catchphrase that is meant to sell a product. It's not meant to be taken literally. But I do also have to say that this is an incredibly effective slogan if you consider just who it's aimed at. And the fact that people still remember it proves that it's a very effective slogan. So in order to understand why this slogan is so effective, let's talk about what kind of technology products young teenagers use. Young teenagers, such as the ones featured in this advertisement, have probably grown up using tablets almost exclusively. If you talk to them, you'll find out they have no interest in using a typical computer. But usually as you get older, you start requiring more from your technology. And that's where the iPad Pro comes in. It's a computer replacement. In this advertisement, the device is shown to be used to create documents and other tasks typically associated with traditional computers. Hence why the girl asks, "What's a computer?" The idea here is that the traditional computer is rendered obsolete. Obviously that will probably never happen, but when has marketing ever been about truth or reality? It's also worth mentioning that this advert is asking a question of the audience and is challenging them to question their own notion of what exactly a computer is or can be. In fact, I'm even willing to take my theory one step further. I think that the iPad Pro is not for the consumers of today. I think it's a sort of future insurance for Apple. When kids that are growing up today start requiring devices for pro work, they're not going to gravitate towards a traditional computer. They're going to gravitate towards what they're used to, which is a tablet. Apple wants to be the first on the market to have a device for these kids, and sadly they kind of are. Android tablets aren't really good enough. In fact, I think the only competition here is Linux tablets, as they're capable of running full desktop software. In fact, I imagine that the use case for the Pine Tab is very similar to the use case for the iPad Pro. We know that this is Apple's plan because this advert and this product very clearly is aimed primarily at children, teenagers and young adults. Like I said, this advert is aimed primarily at young teenagers. So in conclusion, for as much as people like to trash talk this advert back in the day, as someone who's studied media, I can tell you that this is actually a very effective advertisement which is most definitely worth some analysis. We could definitely learn something from this advert. But with that said, that's it for today's video. Do you agree with me? Let me know in the comment section below. But with that said, I hope you enjoyed watching and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.